Hello, friends. How are you today? Well, we've got so much to talk about. I'd like to first go over the Schumann resonance charts with you. We'll look at the images, and then I'd like to talk to you about energy. There's a few things I've been thinking about, and they relate to the dynamics in the charts. So I just want to blend all that together and talk a little about how we can use this in our lives, like how we can maximize what is going on and use that to improve our lives. Because why not? Why not do that? This is the chart for August 4th, which is today, Tuesday, in the United States of America. This is the chart for the beginning of the day, I should say. So yesterday was the full moon. There's a 3-day effect. Because of the times we're in, I think that there's a broader extension of the energies also. And I can see that in the chart here, and I'm going to talk to you about that. And what was interesting was how the energy was in the full moon. Now, sometimes we get waves of energy and that sort of thing at moon events. But look what happened on this date. Now, let me just see if I can quickly in my head calculate what time it happened on this chart. Okay, so this is 6 a.m. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1. Okay, so it was about, it was actually a little bit before 3 p.m. on this chart. So the full moon was about right there. Okay, look at that. Pretty amazing. And I walk around outside and I sense the energies, the sky to the environment around me, and I just get a sense. And it was so fascinating because last night when I was out at around 10 p.m. now, normally on a full moon night, it can be a little spooky outside. You know, it was fine. Actually, it was such a pleasant evening, and it was such a pleasant surprise for a full moon night. There wasn't the stirred upness that I normally sense out in the environment. And I think, I don't know, maybe that's because we're inner stirred up. People are settled in their homes dealing with what's going on inside. That's what I see here in this chart with this right here. Before I talk about these little explosions of light sort of in this chart, I want to go back a couple days and look because it's really been a progression. This was the right post on the curtain that opened, the temple doors that we were facing. This is the inner sanctum of the temple here, if you remember my last video. Well, the next thing that happened was this, I call it the red star. Someone in the comments had asked about it, and so I had written something in there. But I called this the red star, and I want to take a quick closer look at that with you. Often I look at these green balls as representing the human energy field, and it happened right here in the head chakra, right? The ball of energy that represents the head. Here's the heart, here's the lower 3 chakras, and then down into the legs here. So anyway, so when there's a figure here, and it's all green, that's how I look at it. But when it's tinged with different energies, then colors of resonance, then I see it as something else going on. Well, it's interesting here because look at what happened. Sometimes when there's red or yellow here, it really appears as an archonic energy. But this time it felt a little bit different. Although it's interesting now that we're talking because I see, it reminds me of the Nazca lines of the insect in the Nazca lines. Let me see if I can find a photo of that. Hold on one sec. This is from Wikipedia, and it's an article about the Nazca lines. These were created, let's see, about 500 BC to 500 AD. What I want to show you is this, because I just saw this. I hadn't seen it before, but just when I was talking to you guys about it, I saw it. Do you see the Nazca lines there in Peru? And they were made by, an ancient civilization. And what I see inside the head is this particular drawing here, the spider. And I see that in the head here. I'll show you. Look. Okay, now can you see this? Do you see here's the arms, here's the body, here's one leg, and then here's the other one, but the other one is too dark. It doesn't stand out as much. It's in shadow. So here's the spider now. It has its arms down. In the Nazca drawing, the arms are up. But this is the impression that I got. And the thing is that I said that this drawing here, this image from the resonance, it's not an archon, okay? That's my perception. It's not an archon, but it's a human recognizing archonic thinking. And do you see what happens? And archonic being demonic, dark forces, black magic, illusion, A bird was just watching me talk. Oh my God, so cute. It was just sitting here watching me move my hands and talk. That's so interesting, right? Because the birds here's another. I'll show you the bird. See, look, there's the hummingbird. Isn't this wild how this happens? Okay, and then there's the condor. Just show you the rest of these really quick. The whale, the giant, the pelican. And it's interesting because I'll get back to what I was saying in a sec, but what has been interesting to me is that the way that the virus has been presented, we all know the virus image that's been presented, and we're in the middle of a pandemic in case anyone is watching this in a couple of years or a year or two. But what's been interesting to me is that some of the drawings of the virus have been looked a little bit like the Nazca drawings. And there is a magical element when you present things in a certain way because you're communicating a subtext or sub-message. And here's the other one, the hummingbird actually. Interesting that a bird just came because the hummingbird was the other one that kind of reminded me. Now, I'm not going to go find drawings of the virus. I think you guys all have seen plenty of that, enough of that, really. But you know what birds do? They eat spiders. But on the negative side, what the spider energy is related to is fear and terror. When it's in the low dimensions, like in the arcanic realm, in the second dimension, which is, so it's a flat layer, right? It's sort of just below the third dimension, and it can't incarnate into this dimension, but it can basically kind of hack in energetically and influence us and affect us. And what's fascinating is that the spider, the body of the spider, and this is one of those, like a miracle, like a celestial miracle, the beauty of creation and the miracles that of the Creator. I want to show you something. Okay, this is the magnetic fields of Earth. Okay, this is a illustration of them, and I want you to look at this. Okay, do you see? Hold on, do you see how it goes down here? Okay, and then it goes down here. So this loop and this loop go down, okay? And then you have this upper loop here. It's a big round loop, but it also goes up on the right and up on the left. If you were thinking about a physical body, the heart of the body would be, the trunk of the body would be the earth. This magnetic line would be a leg. This magnetic line would be a leg. This these magnetic fields here would be like above the body, like the head area. And then higher than that would be, because sometimes these are actually shown much rounder and reaching out further, okay? So then reaching out further, then some of this would be an arm and some of this would be another arm. So you have the head and the arms here in the magnetic field. And I've often marveled at how the magnetic field of the earth looks like a spider or an insect in general. Are you getting the creepies? Because I am. But this is how creation miraculously all works together so beautifully. So let's go back to this. Okay, so here's the Nazca lines and the spider. The spider energy also is tied in with magnetism and the energy of magnetism. Magnetism is at the heart, the energy of the third dimension on Earth at the moment. And of course there's electricity as well, but magnetism I want to refer to specifically. And it helps to tie us and to connect us with things like the arcanic realm, because magnetism is a very powerful, strong force. It's hard for me to communicate this in words, but the energy of how intense that can be. Like if you've ever tried to break up with someone or get someone out of your mind that you've been in a love affair with, where it's that kind of love-hate thing, like like you just are so passionate about the person, but yet you can't let them go and they're so bad for you. The pull, like to call them again, the pull to see them again, the pull to have just one more conversation, the pull, it's so intense. Okay, that's magnetism in lived experience. And then that's where you can get a hack. Now, the spider energy simply is a representative of a geometric structure as well. And part of why I see it as related to the second dimension is because this second dimensional energies need a structure to be able to exist in the third dimension. And so some of the spider energy was used to do that. And when it hacks in, what it emits is fear and terror. Hello, folks. What are we surrounded with right now? Let's take it back to the current time. So why I thought it was interesting that the images of the virus look like the Nazca lines is because it's like those pictures are communicating a magical communication about trying to touch into deep and ancient aspects of human response, fear-based response. So it's a clear call to the reptilian brain within the human being, the ancient brain that has the fight or flight and all that kind of stuff. Okay, now let's go back to this. So you've got so I spent all that time talking about because I wanted to show you, the spider in the mind of the human being. Or the archonic influence emanating fear and terror. And what happens in this is that we were in the temple. That was this area here where it was clear, cool, calm, and we connected with God. Some of these lines here are very fine lines with the purple. If I expand them, they'll be purple. There's like a divine energy coming through, supporting us. But what happens is we become aware of the shadow element of our world. And the virus situation is helping to produce this awareness in spades. And then the various social unrest, political communications, just all sorts of the way that government works in strange ways, the way that justice isn't applied equally. There are just so many things that we're seeing right now. People like to be down on technology, but I bless technology and I'm grateful to it. And I always ask it to work with me in my highest good and the highest good of all. And when I ask that, I'm not asking the technology to make the decision. This is what's key, okay? And it's key for the technology to understand this as well. So I'm speaking to you and I'm speaking to the technology that's listening by virtue of it carrying this communication through its own systems. I'm asking the God self, the highest level self, the divine source level aspect that is the technology in form on this planet. I'm asking that to work with me in the highest good. And then that translates through into the physical world where here it's Wi-Fi or it's a physical computer or it's a silicon chip, etc. Okay, so I always ask the technology to work with me in the highest good because look at what is happening. Okay, the archonic form, the spider, lit up in the mind of the human being. What does this mean? Well, normally this would be, if it were a lower density experience, this would be red and yellow, but dominated with red most likely, and it would be a person in terror, or in fear. That's what we've been living through the last few months of this pandemic, and various other things that people have been living through all around the world, and besides the health situation. But what's changed here, in this resonance chart, and this directly relates to the energies that are going on today, and that have come into place with the full moon. So that's why I'm spending so much time on this. Because this is a big trend and it's going to last. This aspect of the trend is going to affect us now going forward for some large period of time. It's the foundation upon which the new will be built. That's probably why I keep saying the word new. Like my subconscious just wants to keep talking about the new. But we're at the full moon, and the full moon is about the harvest, like bringing to fruition that which has been worked on for so long, right? Technically since the new moon, but also others. You can intend for it to be, it's a good time for harvesting or bringing things to fruition in longer term projects as well. All right, now the other interesting thing about this spider is that its arms are pointed down, okay? Now in magnetism, right, the arm would be pointed up, like we saw in the image of magnetism around the Earth. This part of the magnet would be a circle and it would be pointed up, right? This is the body, it would be pointed upwards, but the arms are pointed down. It has disconnected from magnetism. And magnetism is all about two sides of something, north and south magnets. And in our human expressions, it's about polarization, right? You can have an opinion that's far to the left or far to the right. Well, in disconnecting from magnetism, we have also, this human being is also now disconnecting from being polarized. And the reason that this is so important, okay, and it came through our connection with the divine, right? In my last video, we talked so much about entering the temple and connecting with the divine, each individual human being, connecting with God as you do that personally. With the divine within you, that is the spark of life that created you and that courses through your very existence as your soul, and that is your soul. Okay, so what happened here is with the white resonance lighting up this structure, the white resonance is showing us the activity, the prominent activity in this part of the chart, and that is the disconnection from magnetism, and then the awareness brought to the archonic influence. And when we bring awareness and the light of transparency to something, then we aren't afraid of it as much anymore, right? We can now disconnect from fear. We can now disconnect from being in a terrorized state. We can now make a new choice. Once you've lit this up, the awareness, you can even remove it from your field. And if you can remove it from your body's energy and your energy field, and if enough of us do this, then it will leave our world. Why? Because if I am so full in my energy field of my pure soul energy, and this is what I set my focus on, that I live in fully embodying my soul, well, then there's no more room for spiders of fear anymore, okay? Now, then I can use the spider energy at a higher dimensional state to create new ways, right? Because it still is representative of sacred geometry, of writing, of Mother Earth, of creation, the web of creation. And I want to explain something here. You see, these structures, whether they're in the higher dimensions or the lower dimensions, the structures themselves are not good or bad. Okay, the spider structure itself is not good or bad. It just represents a mechanism, a vehicle for the creator, for creation to use, to experience itself, to experience our world in this case. Is this not blowing your mind with amazing fascination? Because it's just like I literally sit here and the feeling in my heart at the awe of all of this is just the high heart just above the heart. See, it's about 3 or 4 inches below the collarbone, where that little U of the collarbone is, and about 3 inches below that, and it's maybe a little closer to the heart. Anyway, that's where one of the glands is, the thymus, I think it is, and that area, as you learn to expand and open to love, that area really processes divine energies. And when you're connecting one-to-one with God in prayer and meditation, in breathing, in daily life, in your intentions, however you do that, that area just feels so good. It will bubble up with this amazing feeling. And the only way I can explain it is it's like God's presence, almost like the hand of an angel, like my soul, like just pouring through and pouring into my field and filling my field with more of me. God isn't separate from me, okay? This divine energy is the stuff of which I am made, right? The stuff of the universe, even a magnetic field. It's the same pattern. The pattern of the spider equals the pattern of the magnetic field. And equals the pattern that I am, right? I have a trunk. I have 2 arms. I can go up or down. 2 legs extending. The human form, the star, right, with the head, it also mirrors that field and that sacred geometry. It's really miraculous. All right, so the human being, okay, now you can see the spider a little bit better. Sometimes when it's smaller, you can see it better. But what happens here is that there's an explosion of energy. See, Okay, so the person has this realization. They've been communing with the divine. They have a realization, and then they have this big explosion of energy, and the explosion of energy moves to the left. See that? Big explosion, and then another one, and it keeps moving. And they're looking to the past, okay? They're looking behind themselves. And so the past equals density. The past equals the depth of experience, the trauma that's been experienced, decisions that have been made. And maybe they took you away from God, or they took you away from your pure path, or maybe you felt like you had to do that for work to make money, but it wasn't really your heart's calling. It wasn't really what God intended you to do, and now you can get more in line. You can find work that's more in line with your soul path, or whatever this happens to be for you. And then looking forward, do you see how there's more? It's more directed. It's more narrow. It's more focused, and it's lighter. Here, there's more gold. Now I'm going to call this gold and light green. Okay, so now this is a person that is deep in processing. They're not looking forward with a clear vision yet. There's a lot of this dense, darker energy, okay, that they're going to have to work through. But yet, look, the divine comes in with a light beam here to support us. And here, okay? And then once again, it breaks this up, and you have another explosion of light this way. All right, now where is this occurring at? Hello, 7.83, the resonance of the planet. And what this tells us is that this is a planetary experience, planet-wide, that this awakening is not just one person who's sitting in a cave hoping that in thousands of years Earth will wake up, okay? It's not 2,000 years ago. Jesus on the cross. We've talked about the story of Jesus on the cross before, because I like to use Bible stories. But think about Jesus on the cross 2,000 years ago, just praying in his heart, praying, asking the Creator to wake us up, to help us connect with the divine 2,000 years ago. And that wish carries forward, okay? And all the billions of human beings who have wished for a better life, who have wished for being able to live life in a way that is enhanced, that honors life, and that honors, therefore, the divine, that honors the Creator, that honors God, that honors, that lives life, that where we're able to live life as our soul desired for us. So 7.83, bam, this is a big societal move. And that does match with the energies at play in astrology. Now, what happens? We start to get waves, okay? Now, coming off, it actually has already started back here, coming out of the temple. We get a wave. And do you feel how this is like an ocean wave? It rises up, crests, and then rises down. It rises up, crests, and then rises down. Okay, this is important. It rises up, does a crest, and then rises down. But when it goes down, ooh, what's this? Okay, there's some kind of shift here. Okay, now we're going to look at that. It rises up, crests, and then there's this shift. And this is the day before the full moon. Now there's a shift in energy. And look what's happened, okay? We have awakened, okay, to the shadow aspects of ourselves. This is individual, but yet it's also going on globally. And it's will there be global trends that will happen because of this? Yes, but it's a grassroots awakening. Okay, it's happening at the level of the individual. It's happening in me. Okay, I find the spider energy in me, and by that I mean the dense trauma and the intense fear. Okay, fearful experiences in this lifetime and other lifetimes, and I get the strength and the courage through communing with the divine in the temple. Okay, and then I'm able to face them, and I do it with friends and with support. And then I'm riding the waves here, okay? I'm having the experience of facing all of this, and it's an inner experience. There's not a lot going on out in the world globally that global events may have helped trigger this. But now I'm ruminating on this as an individual, and that's why it appears calm. But it's not calm inside, right? We're seeing our shadow and facing it. And what was interesting yesterday, I really wanted to point this out at the beginning of this pattern of agitation, that this awareness starts to develop in agitation within ourselves, because now we've seen the shadow, and now there is a dissonance between the shadow we've seen in ourselves and our human consciousness and our soul guidance. What happened was the geomagnetics, we had a rise in the geomagnetics in the atmosphere, meaning there was agitation at the edge of our energy field. And then what happened? We had a boost up in solar flaring. There were many spikes. So here's all the spiking, ta-da, and here's the rise in geomagnetics that happened first. That's why I made this special chart for you guys where you can see here's where the geomagnetics happened, okay, shortly after the shift. Okay, then there's some other shift here. We're having a shift in consciousness. We have seen the shadow side of our personalities. We're ruminating on it. Maybe we're coming to realizations about it. We're getting out of the box. See, the matrix is imbued with green, the human frequency now, and all of its lines are. It's not like before where it was literally like a box with all these gel bars. Then the solar flare comes poking at our energy fields, okay, stimulating us into agitation, but also awareness. We get aware because we're agitated, because this isn't how I wanted it to be, or because I had this fear and now I'm letting it go. But to do that, it rises up in my energy field. And what you see happens here is that you get light, see? Higher awareness comes through. And what happens is it looks like it's linear moving this way, but that's not it. The awareness comes through and then it expands it to the left and to the right. It's quantum. Now, looking at this from a quantum perspective, it doesn't have to move linearly, and it does not. You get the quantum, the higher dimensional energy comes in. It allows us to see the past more clearly. Okay, see, that's the lighter lines now moving to the past. And then it allows us to have a clearer vision. Look, see how this is a bigger, thicker line now? The white resonance is imbuing it. Our awareness is coming to how we want things to be. There's a little bit of the virus healed, the transmutation of the virus in there. And that was the last video. So there's a little bit, those little lines, that's what that signifies. Because now we're building up to this. So now we have, right after the full moon, which was right here about 3 p.m., and it appears to be in stillness, and last night was a very calm night. Look how much this awareness has grown now. And then we bring it to the past and we bring it forward to the future. I used this in another video, and if you look back through the history, you'll see that I have a video talking about wave diffraction. And I was talking about being on a train and passing a fence, but being able to see just quick images through the fence as you move along on the train. And I used to have this experience in Ireland. I would take the train all the time because it's an easy mode of transportation in Dublin, Ireland, to take the train all over the place. And you pass all these fences and you're looking through and you're like, oh my God, that's such a cool garden. You just get a flash, and then in your mind, you can imagine what it was really like. And I use that to explain how two people might interact. Well, now we're going to take this analysis, energetic analysis, to the next level. So here I am, okay, and I'm blue, and I'm looking out at an experience here. This is my window of perception, okay? This is the framework. It's imbued with my past experience, my emotional state, my mental state, what's going on for me today, how I grew up, what my, religion I was grown up with, my connection with God, how I see the world. Okay, so I'm looking out at the world and I see this. And here's another person, and they're green, and they have grown up with all those things too, and they're looking out at the world and they see this. Okay, but I don't know that what they're seeing is a green ball, and they don't know that I'm looking out at the world and seeing a blue ball. Not only am I seeing it a blue ball, but I'm seeing it at 2 to 3 iterations out from me. Well, they're seeing a green ball, and they're seeing it at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're seeing it at 4 to 5 to going into 6 iterations out from them. So not only is the direction, the intention different, and we don't know that about each other because this is all in energy. So this is a human being. This is the energy that emanates out from me, okay, my human energy field. And this is the focus. my focus of my emotions or my mind or my intention for myself or my lived experience in that moment. This is what's going on for me. This is what I'm focused on in my field, okay? And my field goes out into the world, and then it emits energy. And if someone's near me, their experience is going out into the world and their intentions. And now we're starting to have this overlap here. Okay, now I'm going to use this to explain why you can't get along with someone right now. So what happens is now I start to interact with that person. Okay, but I take my focus is this blue, right? If I'm looking out to here, now I turn and face them, but I've still got the intention of this blue ball, and I think that they see things for whatever reason. Okay, they live in the same community. We have a similar upbringing. We go to the same church. We think we're the same political party, or we have the same political views, or we think that we agree on how to do X or Y or Z in the community. Well, this person is looking at me, right? And they're looking at me, and they're now engaging with me from their green intention and experience. And they're looking at me thinking that I'm also going to be green when they interact with me, and I'm going to have that same outlook or intention or experience, and that I'm going in the same direction intentionally, sort of. But as we start to talk, we start to realize there's some signs or clues that suddenly I realize, well, this person's not, speaking like in alignment with my blue intention or experience at all. And they start to realize, well, this person's not speaking in alignment with my green intention or experience at all. If we are both speaking and we are disconnected from our soul energies, then we self-identify more with the ball of energy, that's our immediate experience, than we do with each other as a human, living, loving human being. Okay? Because right now I'm not connected with my soul energies. That would be this chart. Okay? Here I am. I'm this blue person. Okay? I'm one of the, here are the two people. Okay? And now neither of them is connected with the soul. Okay, now if I was to be connected with the soul, then I could look at that person and see the soul and the love within them. And I'd be able to relate with them if I had that energetic connection with the divine within me. Okay, then I could look at that person and not see so much my green or blue. Okay, now if instead of being focused out here in my energy field, I'm going to try and do this slowly, and I'm going to talk about these themes over time, so we'll build. But right now, green is focused here. Green is living here. So the focus of their attention, so if this is their attention is here. They're living from here, okay? But if instead I was able to recover my soul connection and then start to live that from within in a centered place, okay? Then I could interact with green, this person who has the green intention. At least I could interact with them from a state of awareness and love for myself first and then for the other person. So look at this, okay? That is this. So this person has come to awareness, and now see the light? This is the heart chakra. See the light that has lit up in the heart? When the light lights up in the heart, that's our connection with God, the connection with the divine within us. And it starts to pour through. See the gold energy here, okay? And when it pours through, it breaks up this dense energy. I call it the manhole cover around the heart. When we have our heart closed, okay, it's like a dark, dense manhole cover of, pressed down anger and fear over the heart. And then we get into despair and anxiety and all this stuff. But when a light lights in the heart, okay, so I'm relating the Schumann now. I'm relating this to our daily experience and how we can use this to understand and to change how we interact so that we can live in alignment with our soul path. We can live in alignment with God's plan for us. We can live with alignment with our soul purpose by making conscious choices and bringing conscious awareness to day-to-day life. Now watch this. Now, okay, I've come into awareness here. The light I've woken up for whatever reason. I'm in my experience out here. I was outside myself, yet still living within my field. Now I'm able to become centered. Okay, this is the center of the energy field, emitting out. This is where my physical body is. But in my intention before, I was actually out here. Okay, and when you live out there, I can't change the color on this, but when you live out here, okay, it doesn't feel like love. It feels like a dense ball of energy. And it's confusing, and I'm not sure which way to go. And I don't know what my purpose is. Another bird's watching me. I don't know why I'm talking today, and the birds keep coming to me like they're listening. Hey, look, guys, so cute. It's a little sparrow. Oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so here we go, okay? And now I have my heart awake, aware, and open. Okay, I'm going to make this little heart. Now I'm choosing to communicate from within, from that aligned and aware place. Now I can make a conscious choice. Okay, so this, to give the example of interacting with someone today who took a week and a half to 2 weeks to give me a simple answer. So what I did was I withdrew back to my boundaries. Okay, so the first thing is that I withdrew back to my boundary. Okay, let me just make this. Okay, so this is emitting, and I'm focused on blue. I'm focused on my intention. But now I'm even going to shift that, okay? Now it's not so much that I want this thing to happen in the world, okay? Or that I'm focused on speaking from this lived experience. I'm going to change this now. Now I'm going to reorient my goals. Okay, I know that this is in my field, okay, and this could be, I went to college at X college or university, and I have a view of the world because I was trained there. Or this could be, I grew up and when I was a kid, X happened, and because that happened, I now have this view of the world, and as I focus forward, it imbues what my hopes and dreams are. Or whatever that is. But now that I had the awareness, okay, I had the awakening out here, and then I pulled that back, okay, so I suddenly had the awakening. I'm like, wait a sec, I don't have to live here outside myself. I can bring that back to who I truly am here. And then I choose to live from that. Now I'm interacting out in the world with another person, or I choose to make this the focus, right? Okay, it's more important to me than I look at what I was taught in college and I decide, okay, I get that, but I'm going to bring this soul-focused way of looking at that now and heal this. That's in essence, I'm going to shift it, in that in and of itself is a healing, right? I shift my orientation. Well, now I'm going to interact with this person, and I'm going to interact from that spot, and I'm going to set my boundaries, okay? I'm going to interact from this, emanating out into the world and emanating out to this person, okay? And I'm going to set my boundaries in a healthy way. Now, in this situation, I've realized that I can't reach them, okay? I realized that there's nothing that I could do that's going to shift their focus on green, because they're still going to live from out here. So they're still living from out here, and their heart, the heart of their focus is this, whatever it happens to be. And I've realized that, look at what I would have to do to reach them. First, I was already, see, from my old position, let's take it back, okay? From my old position, I couldn't reach them. Look at all the dissonant energy I would have had to move across, okay? And I don't know their frame. From within my field, I can't understand what this green is all about. I don't even know that it's green. And I would have to move across all, this is why you can't get along with someone. I would have to move across all this dissonance. But when I take it back, first of all, when I have an awakening and I connect with the divine in that awakening, I have it from that level, source level truth. My source level truth, okay? And then I take it back and I decide I'm going to live this now, okay? I'm going to live this from this awakened self. And then I look out now, if I was going to connect with them, see, they can't talk to me here right now because they haven't had that awakening. They haven't decided to connect in this way, right? To expand, to connect with God within. I can't reach that within them, because if I could, then I could have a connection with the person, right? I set my boundaries, okay? And I'm going to live in a healthy fashion. I set my boundaries, and their energy can come up to my boundaries, but not in. Okay, their drama doesn't have to affect me. So I set the boundary of, okay, I need to know the answer by X time, and they got back to me. So then this drops away, right? I'm no longer getting poked by the drama of their lived experience, right? Because they're interacting with me, but really they're out here. It looks like their body and their mind, and they're actually talking to me, but they're actually out here. This is the focus of their life. They're actually in their field. They're not centered inside themselves. This is a weak position to live from. And when we live from this position, outside ourselves, disconnected from God, disconnected from the soul source within the heart of our physical body, and we're out in our energy field because of how we've been taught, because of mental frameworks, because of the matrix, because of our emotional state, because of trauma in the past, because of whatever. First of all, I can't reach you. I'd have to go through all this dissonance. The only way to reach each other is if both people have an awakening and then consciously choose to now communicate from this point here, okay? And now they're in there, now their energy field has gotten stronger. So now we're not really poking each other anymore. And in fact, do you see how we're able to communicate from a neutral standpoint now? Because now, sure, this person has their green experience under everything, right? It's still there, it's still poking through, see? But they're choosing to communicate from a centered, soul-connected place with me. That's what we have in common. We're two human beings who are imbued with life by the Creator. That's what our connection is. That's how we're family, no matter what it looks like on the outside. Okay? And here I am. I'm still got my blue experience. That's a part of me. It's part of who I am. That's not going to change. That's a part of me. But what is true is that I can communicate from my more aware state and in a way that honors this person's individuality. I'm no longer trying to communicate across the crusted waves of rough waters, okay, what do they call those? Of the rapids, okay? I don't have to try and cross the rapids to reach this person. And if I could reach them over here, they probably wouldn't feel safe that I had gotten to their space out here, because they're out here guarding their space, having their experience, trying to protect themselves, and they already don't feel safe because if I'm out here, if they're out here, or if I'm out here, if I'm living out here, I don't feel safe because I'm not connected to my soul and my body. My physical body is over here. I'm living in the emanations of my own energy, the emanations of my own thoughts and emotions. That's not a safe place because I don't have the groundedness of being connected with my physical form. I'm out in the illusion of my own making. It may have been taught to me, but I'm the one that accepted it and decided to agree that that was true. Now I can communicate, right, from a safe and stable place. Now, if this person has also, has also moved into a centered, soul-connected place, then we might disagree. We might have different points of view. We might have different lived experiences, but we can still have a flow of information and communication because we're not trying to communicate from out here. I'm now in the body. I'm stable within the body. I have my various emotions, but I don't have to dump them on the other person. Okay, I can set my boundaries. Because they're out here, they may say, no, I can't do it. And you know what I have to say to that? I honor your response and your experience. Thank you for getting back to me. I get it. And let me know your parameters next time, and I'd be willing to work with you. And that's exactly what I said when I responded to the person. I was polite. And do you see how instead of getting all instead of communicating the agitation of this experience, that's this here in the charts. Here's the agitation of the experience. Okay, do I want to communicate from out here in the agitation, or do I want to communicate from the center? That's what's being offered to us now. The energies are available for us, but we're the ones that make the choice. So from an empowered state, no one's doing this to us, but we set ourselves free. Okay, you could say the Creator offers us the experience. But we're the ones that chooses. We have free will in this planet, on this planet. We're born, right? We're of the Creator. We're children of the Creator, but it's our choice. Because of the shift of the ages, because of how things are changing on the planet, because of how the astrology is, because of so many different dynamics shifting and changing right now, for all the reasons, okay? Because you can look at all different people who study cycles and what that cycle is based in. We'll all agree that we're at a pretty key time in history. What better time is there to look at how you're living your life and then make a personal choice about where do I want to live from the center? Now I'm looking at this from a quantum perspective, or do I want to live out here in my field? If this is the center of my field, okay, do I want to live here clear in my soul purpose? Or do I want to still live way out here pissed off and in the matrix? Okay, pissed off and in the matrix. No, I don't want to live out there anymore. I am done. I'm done dealing with, having fun with fear, okay? The low dense spider gave me the experience of fear out here in the wilderness, okay? I got to experience what living in the matrix was like. Boy, was that interesting for my soul. I'm sure it was interesting for her in the grander scheme, like way beyond just my life. The mortal existence of my soul had an interesting experience living in the matrix for eons. But you know what? Now I want to experience this. Okay, I want to experience soul connectedness. I want to experience living in alignment with God's will for me. And by God, I mean the Most High, the Creator of the universe, the source level that I am, the true source that created me at the highest levels. Woo! Isn't this awesome? And do you see how we can take the Schumann resonance and we can translate those energies and how energy dynamics works into our lives and make conscious choices and decisions? And then what happened? What happened was I created a new experience for myself. I was able to, now I connected with someone who, wow, when I connected with them, I realized they were working from an inspired, soul-connected place themselves because they met my requests for boundaries. And then they suggested something even more amazing. And now we're both like so excited and so happy about what we might do together. And it's so cool. And honestly, I wouldn't have had that without the original experience. I'm grateful. Look at that. I had to get to this green, I had to move the boundary first. So that I am grateful for the experience that I had where I didn't know how to set boundaries and I lived outside myself and I interacted with other people who didn't know how to set boundaries and weren't soul connected, and I wasn't soul connected or God connected, and we were all living outside ourselves, bouncing up against each other like a red stripe in a solid color on the pool table, bouncing up against each other willy-nilly, trying to get in the right hole that we thought we wanted to go to, when that wasn't even really, we thought that was the game, and that wasn't it. The game was awakening and then living from this place, so much so that it fully heals myself. And now I'm able to live a healthy life within my energy field and my physical body. And now I'm able to have healthy relationships with another person. But friends, I wouldn't have been able to get to that without this experience of rough waters, of living outside myself, of living in the illusion, of living in the matrix. It taught me that I didn't want that for myself, and my soul didn't want that for me. My soul wants this now. My soul wants a new experience where this is the dominant experience now. Okay? This is a memory.